Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your planning outlook video on Friday the 15th of February. Over halfway through another month then, and it's feeling very much like spring is in the air at the moment. Still plenty of chance for winter to have a sting in the tail, but if you're wanting wintry weather, for the time being, it's in very short supply. A little bit chillier briefly on in the new week, but then we're back to a general south by southwesterly, and with time, that wind flow turning southeasterly, and the wind pretty strong, and again, gusty at times. A very familiar weather sequence through next week almost to what we've just seen in the past week. We'll start off with a look at temperatures in the 850 millibar level, which gives us that steer for the highest tops in Scotland. And over the weekend, briefly on Saturday, you'll be close to freezing, above, say, 1200, 1300 metres. But as we go through into Sunday, again, it'll be above freezing, even to the highest tops. Then temporarily from Sunday night onwards into Monday, a cold front comes through and there's chillier air that comes in off the North Atlantic for a time, and you'll drop freezing levels back below 800 or 900 metres for a time into Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures a degree or so below zero then on the Scottish Munros, and even close to or just below freezing on the highest tops in England and Wales Monday, Tuesday. It's short-lived though, because as we go through into the middle of the week, milder southwesterlies return, and that will push freezing levels back up above the highest summits, and once again we may well find temperatures lift a good few degrees above freezing. You consider that Cairngorm summit just on Thursday of this week was into double figures Celsius, as it took the benefit of a warm plume of air above an inversion. We may well see something similar again next week as that airflow is back to the south, eventually turning more into a southeasterly. Let's look through the charts for these next few days ahead, and for Saturday there's the southwesterly flow that's in charge. We've got a weak warm front that's across England and Wales, and what that will do is create a lot of low cloud across chiefly the Brecon Beacons, and it may be that that just starts to filter northwards further across Wales with time. There'll be some patches of low cloud around Irish Sea coast elsewhere, and early low cloud as well, and drizzly rain across the West and Northwest Highlands. Most of all of that should break up, and there should be some cloud breaks to higher tops, best of those generally toward the Cairngorms, with that flow of air from the south to southwest. Winds will strengthen through Saturday evening and into the night, widely gale force on the hills and more or less staying that way into Sunday daytime, with again some strong gusts through passes and cols. A cold front is moving in from the west gradually, still a bit of uncertainty just how soon this comes in, but it just looks as though it's a day that deteriorates, with patchy rain becoming more persistent across western Scotland, bits and pieces making their way eastwards into the central and eastern Highlands with time, and a little bit of rain also coming on across Wales into the Lake District, not too much getting to the Pennines, maybe just coming in here later in the day. We're in the cooler air mass then by Monday. We've got a showery picture in charge, a windy day again, the risk of severe upland gales, particularly across the Scottish Highlands. Showers coming in from the west could well be frequent across the western and northwestern Highlands. Some snow above, say, 500 or 600 metres, bit of hail mixed in at times, even the chance of an isolated rumble of thunder around the west coast. Showers may be a bit more scattered the further east you go, and the eastern Cairngorms could stay often dry. Bits and pieces of patchy rain becoming showery in nature across England and Wales. A little bit tricky with timing and detail into Tuesday. We've got the leftovers of maybe 1 or 2 showers from Monday, but a brief ridge of high pressure is around. It could be a chilly start, a frosty start for many places then for Tuesday morning. A cool day for many. The next tangled array of fronts are trying to come in from the Atlantic, these producing low cloud and rain and drizzle with time across western coastal fringes. Need to watch the timing of that. It could just all fill in to become a rather murky picture as Tuesday goes on, with the risk of gales developing again. Into Wednesday, a warm front pushes northwards, and a very similar picture to what we've seen during this week, really, with lots of low cloud, particularly across western coastal regions, covering the hills from lower slopes upwards. Rain and drizzle, mostly again focused around those western coastal areas, enough to be damp, but not amounting to a huge amount in total, and the risk of being windy with gales on the higher tops again. So it's a very familiar chart as we go through the middle of the week. A warm plume of air coming up from the Canaries. High pressure is over Central Europe. Deep area of low pressure over the Atlantic. And it looks as though it's the high that wins out and stops any fronts coming in from the west. There may be bits of low cloud that hang on around the Irish Sea and some western coastal fringes of Scotland. But a bit like this week, drier air will push its way further northwards. Increasing amounts of sunshine are likely to come through as the week progresses, the high building northwards to become centred somewhere around the south of Scandinavia later on in the week. The airflow turning a bit more southeasterly, may still be quite windy much of the time. The risk of some turbulent gusts again blowing down to some lower slopes through passes, through cols, with a stable air mass that's in charge. Always that chance for those turbulent gusts, not necessarily on the very highest terrain through this period. Largely dry conditions then, some fog maybe in sheltered low-lying valleys in the morning, some inversion conditions around, but essentially a dry theme as we go to the later part of the week and maybe even into next weekend. So we need to watch what happens to that high as we go towards the later stages of February. If we want winter to return, it needs to build further northwards and allow an easterly wind to try and develop. It's not out of the question, but there's not really a concrete signal for that just at this stage. So for now, it's mild and fairly dry conditions that will stay in place. Stay up to date with all our latest forecasts then every day on the Mountain Weather website, and we'll update the video again for you on Tuesday. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.